When you think about water, most people just think about drinking half their body weight in ounces and maybe adding in some salt or some minerals. But what if water was so much more complex and interesting than that? Stay tuned to today's episode to find out more. Welcome back to the Sarah Kleiner Wellness YouTube channel. Today's episode is with Mario from Analemma. Now, this is his second time on the show. The first time on the show was a real showstopper. So many people were just absolutely fascinated by these topics because Mario and we had Dolph on last time. We really dive into water and the water inside of your body and how that profoundly affects your health. The very cool thing about the analemma product and just talking about structured water in general is that there is a multitude of scientific evidence to back this up. So on the surface, at face value, a lot of people will brush off this topic and not give it a proper chance. But again, there is ample scientific evidence to show the importance of this water network within your body and how to maintain that integrity as well. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you are interested in anything from Analemma, we talk about the wand. I have had a lot of follow-up questions about the water structuring wand. So we tried to cover a lot of those follow-up questions from the last episode and this one. And then we talk about the whole home system from Analemma. If you're interested in either one of those, you can use the code Sarah in all caps to save on those. There's going to be a link down in the show notes for you. And I want to thank, before we jump into today's episode, a couple sponsors. The first one is going to be Viva Rays. You can use my code YOGI to save 15% on those circadian glasses. Going to really help you really maintain that integrity within your body of water by protecting your circadian rhythms. Believe it or not, artificial light can fundamentally dehydrate you on that cellular level. So use my code YOGI to save 15% on those circadian glasses, link in the show notes. Second sponsor is going to be Optimal Carnivore, amazing way to fill in any nutritional gaps using their organ meat complex as well as their Brain Nourish product, which will help you to increase BDNF in the body, brain derived neurotrophic factor, which can really just help you be a little bit more clear headed and not struggle so much with brain fog. So use code carnivore, uppercase Y, to save over at Optimal Carnivore. There's a link down in the show notes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like it, share it with a friend, family member, or in a Facebook group. And I thank you so much for watching. Let's just go ahead and get right into the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Super excited for today's guest. One of my most popular episodes is with Analemma, with Mario, and Dolph was here the last time. But I wanted to bring Mario back. I've had a lot of questions since that last episode, and we've got some new developments, some new scientific studies. So thank you so much, Mario, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. It was a pleasure to speak with you last time. So I'm really thrilled to be here again. Thank you.
Yeah. And for anybody who maybe this is their first time listening or watching, and I'll make sure I'll link the previous episode that we did below. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So I've been always kind of very passionate about health and wellness. And I always knew kind of deep within that our bodies have this intrinsic system of self-healing and that it's perfect. But I was always kind of searching for ways to assist that natural process in a powerful way, which led me to kind of being in the whole health and wellness arena for many years now. I had a natural pharmaceutical company which I ran for years and helped really thousands of people. And then everything led me to the project that I'm in, Analemma. This project really ticks all the boxes because I was kind of thinking, if I when I sold my company, I was kind of thinking if I am going to invest myself in something, it really needs to be something for the highest good of all, from personal to universal, so that it's planetary for animals, for plants, for humans, and really Analemma checked all the boxes. So I'm beyond grateful to be part of this project. So yeah, I'm thrilled to actually share the blessing of this water with the world. So I'm really, really happy to be part of the whole project.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I think people are very much, and we talked about this on the last episode,
Mhm.
they're very much kind of in this tunnel vision with health that it's all based on nutrition. But nutrition is important, right? We need to be eating healthy, good, clean foods. But the water in the body, this is how the cells and the organ systems they communicate, right?
Exactly. Not only that, like when you look at it, we all know that we're 70% water in mass. I mean, that
Hmm.
is enough.
Everyone knows
70%,
that. Yep.
yeah. But we're
99.
99%
Mhm.
water in molecules.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
basically very clever H2O. So there's something much deeper with water that
Yep.
people didn't quite get up until now. We only have 1% of heavy molecules.
Yep.
Everything else is something completely different. And
Yep.
just like you mentioned, water is a communication system, not just within ourselves, but basically with the universe, if not
Hmm.
our planet in large. This is how we are connected with everything that happens. You know, Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Hmm.
And this is exactly where water comes in. Water is a broadband absorber, receiver, and transmitter of frequencies. So water is like an antenna. And if you, like old radios, they were crystal radios where you kind
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
adjusted to the certain kind of radio station and you receive that particular signal. In this way, if our body is primed to receive the proper frequency, because water is always going to pick up the most dominant frequency around,
Hmm.
so if we are primed to receive that particular highest frequency, then we're moving with everything that is beneficial for us. And in the last, we mentioned this beautiful study that we did in the last podcast where we watered seeds and we measured biophotons. So the seeds that were watered with regular water, they had their flat line. There was no emissions, no nothing of biophotons. But seeds that were watered with analemma water, we started seeing this sinusoidal shape. We started seeing peaks and valleys of biophoton emissions. And then we realized after a while, when we did the research and went deep, because we didn't understand it, what is that phenomenon? It actually followed the tides.
Mm.
It
Ah.
followed the natural electromagnetic movement of our planet and the universe.
Hmm.
So this water connects you electromagnetically to what's relevant. So
Wow.
it's really amazing to observe. This was one of really kind of a lot of those oh my God moments when we realized
Mm.
that when you drink this water, you connect yourself with something which is much larger than yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the crazy things that I notice with people when they start to really become in tune with the sun cycles and the moon cycles, that they notice shifts in their body. And I always say, what happens to the ocean during the new and the full moon? Look at the planet is this body of water. And what happens to these bodies of water during these moon cycles? Why, if our bodies are 99% water molecule, would you expect your body to be any different, right? So
Exactly.
it's a sign when you begin to sync up with the moon cycles as a woman, as a female in particular, that you're really connecting with nature as a whole, and that water within your body is also kind of more coherent, I think.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And that's why we called also, you mentioned sun cycles and moon cycles. That's why we
Hmm.
called this water analemma water. Analemma is actually the power symbol of the sun. When you
Mm.
photograph the sun from one point of the earth for 365 days, you're going to
Oh.
get this infinity sign.
Ah.
And we realized in our research that water is very much connected to the sun as well, not just the
Mhm.
moon.
Yes.
So it changes electromagnetically as we are changing electromagnetically. How all of the electromagnetic vibrations have influence on us.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important that we pay attention to it
Yes.
and that we prime ourselves to receive the proper frequency so that our bodies can actually function in the
Yep.
best possible way. We realized in our research, it was really, really amazing. We realized how, so with this study, we proved, okay, you're connected with something larger than yourself. But then we went into all of these studies to prove that something biologically remarkable happens when people drink this water, that health really improves in so many ways. So it really is amazing. We tested, I don't know, have I mentioned in the last podcast, we did this double-blind placebo-controlled ATP study and double-blind placebo-controlled microbiome study.
I don't think we talked about that one.
Yeah, it's like ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is the primary energy currency of the cell. So it's like the number one thing that gives you energy in your body, and it's responsible for powering majority of cellular processes in our body. So we need it very much so. And it's responsible for DNA and RNA synthesis, for muscle contraction, for nerve impulse transmission. So basically, almost every single process in our body requires ATP. So what we did, we wanted to see whether drinking this water will increase ATP levels. So we employed luciferase, which is an enzyme that catalyzes light production in bioluminescent organisms. And due to its extraordinary sensitivity, you can measure ATP levels within our body. So we did a baseline test of ATP levels of people in the study. Then they drank the water for 2 months without changing anything else in the world. So didn't change their diets, didn't change the exercise regime, didn't change anything. And then we did the follow-up test. And there was a 20% significant rise over the placebo in the entire mitochondrial energy of the body.
Wow, that's insane.
Which is really a lot. Only if you give your body a couple of percent, it will really kind of find its way to be very useful. But 20% is really, really a lot. So
it's remarkable.
It is remarkable. Yeah. So we're really kind of astonished with the results. And it really kind of gave us, wind in our back, because we knew that this water is special. So we just want to put it to as much people as possible so people can get the benefit.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about the technology, because I think a lot of people have questions about that. There are a lot of other kind of water structuring devices and systems out there. So I think a lot of people are like, how can a wand actually help to structure my water? What is that? How does that even work?
It really is so elegant when you look at it. Since water is a broadband absorber, receiver, and transmitter of frequencies, it will always pick up the most dominant frequency in its environment. What we managed to do, we actually, we don't even think that we did it. We kind of felt that it came through us, so to speak, because it's so necessary for the world at this moment.
Yes.
We created the most positive, dominantly positive frequency of water there is, and we call it mother water. And we put it in the crystal vial. Anybody who owns an analemma knows that there is a stainless steel holder and a crystal vial, which is filled with mother water. Crystal vial serves just as a superconductor.
Okay.
So it separates the mother water from the rest of the water. It's like it's there, but it's not there, but it transmits its frequency without any loss. So when you swirl the wand through the water, any H2O molecule that comes into close proximity to the mother water will start to mimic its exact structure.
Wow.
And that's why the water goes into this very special liquid crystalline state. So it's elegant.
All it needs to do is touch the water, basically, right?
Exactly. Since water is a broadband absorber, receiver, and transmitter of frequency, it will always pick up the most dominant frequency. Mother water is the most dominant frequency, and when you swirl it through the water, all of the water will mimic its exact structure. And the main difference between an analemma, our technology, and basically we tested all other structuring devices, they do put water in a coherent state, but the main difference is stability. We are not using, people usually use either vortexing machines or crystals or magnets. There are various forms of how they come about it. But in our test, the water goes back to chaos, so to speak, between a couple of minutes and day and a half. But with analemma, with just one treatment, just one swirl. We now tested it 5 consecutive years, and
5 years. Okay.
5 years, and it never lost its state of coherence. That's why we always kind of want to keep it scientific, so we say 5 years, but it's virtually forever because it never for one moment lost. The water never went back to chaos. And we're going to continue testing that same water, and every single year we're just going to keep adding
Adding a year.
adding a year. Yeah.
So if somebody puts the water into like the refrigerator, let's say, or sets the water beside their phone that's got like non-native EMF, or in the fridge it's got these like bright lights coming down, does it still maintain the structure even in those
Yes.
situations? Okay.
Yes. We actually tested it. We radiated it in various ways to see. Yeah. This is really one of the. You had Dolph was with me on the last podcast. I don't know if you're aware. He was a CEO of largest Dutch telecom. So he was very much aware of the whole EMFs and the influences, like way before people were even aware of it. That's why he wanted to find a way to help people, so people can be protected for these kind of frequencies, because now it's rampant. It's all over the place.
It is.
And not only that, this 5G, it needs to be very tight together. So every 250 meters, we need one transmitter. And we're not talking about one provider. Now we're talking about, every single provider has their own station. So we have extraordinary saturation of these waves, and nobody's really paying attention to doing tests. How is this influencing our health?
Right.
So, which is crazy in our mind. And
the data is being hidden. That's what I was talking about. Yes. Dr. Martin Pall has done a tremendous amount of research on this, and Dr. Gerald Pollack has as well. And they're trying to shut down Dr. Pollack's lab right now. Yes. And a lot of this work, it's kind of like, it's just being hidden, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah, but just so you know, there is a group of scientists working on and doing tests and retests, because you really have to repeat so many times so that your data becomes irrefutable in any way or form, and it's already being done. So I'm really hoping, because we encountered let's say kind of pushback, because and we know that it's going to be very hard for since all of it is out there. Right. It's going to be very hard. Okay, now we're just going to click eject button, and all of it is going to kind of disappear.
Right.
That's kind of very hard, and not hard to happen, and not realistic. It would be awesome if it would happen, but I'm not sure that it's going to happen. So anyhow, we definitively proved that when you drink analemma water, you have a powerful protecting effect.
Okay.
Exactly.
With non-native EMF.
Yes, and we actually did the study where people. This is one area where we very early realized where the problem is. In the beginning, people just used cell phone, and they were talking about heating, kind of parts of the brain. Right. But we went into brain waves, and there is a clear when people use cell phones, there is a very clear chaotic event happening when people on the brain waves. People use cell phones, and what we did, we just gave regular water to some after 3 minutes of using the cell phone, and an analemma water to other, and we measured their brain waves. And as soon as the person who drank analemma water took a sip of this water, we already did this double-blind study of identical twins of brain waves. So we kind of figured, okay, something awesome is happening there. As soon as the person took a sip of analemma water, there was an instant better connection between the left and right hemisphere of the brain, and instant cooling effect on the brain waves. So brain waves came from chaotic to regular pretty fast. And a person who drank regular water, basically nothing happened. So it took much longer for the brain waves to kind of come back to their regular state.
Interesting. And what if somebody, that's another question I get a lot. What if somebody heats up the water after they've structured it? Will it unstructure it? Should they heat the water and then structure it? How does that work?
Actually, we always kind of suggest, because the wand is kind of delicate.
Yes.
It's very kind of thin crystal glass, so always use it in a kind of not too hot water, or
Mm,
not below freezing or something like that.
mm.
But just so you know, as soon as you heat it up, and when it kind of starts to boil, those bonds are going to break, but as soon as the water cools down a little bit, they come together again.
Ah, okay.
So it's not losing its state of coherence even in that particular situation.
Okay. Fantastic. That's wonderful. That's good to know. That's a question I get quite often.
Yeah. I mean, we very much aware of this while we were testing it, and no worries there. We haven't actually found whatever we kind of threw at the water, so to
Hmm.
speak. It always held its ground. That's why it's so. When we did the studies on plants, plants become so resilient
Mm,
when you water them with this water. Our
yep.
bodies become so resilient. I don't know
Hmm.
if I've mentioned this in our last podcast. Is like we did 3 generations. We were watering tomatoes with analemma water, and we compared it to tomatoes that were watered with regular water. And we did so. We 1 generation, then we took out the seeds, planted them, and we did it for 3 generations. And after 3 generations, tomatoes almost don't need no pesticides.
Wow.
They become so resilient. And I always kind of invite people, whoever owns analemma, they can do it for themselves. You can buy 2 basil plants, okay,
Mm,
and you water one with regular water and the other one with analemma water for let's say 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, you cut their water supply, you stop watering them, and you can even increase the stress factor, as for instance heat,
mm.
and then you can see what's going to happen. The
Wow.
one that was watered with regular water will shrivel down very
Mm,
fast. And the one with analemma water, you're just going to eat, of course, if you keep it off water, you are going to start to see changes. But the level of resilience in comparison to the one water with regular water is off the charts. We did actually photos of it. It's extraordinary to see how much power the plant that was watered with analemma water has.
mm. It's amazing.
And
It's
anybody
really
can do
amazing.
that. This is so
Yep.
fun. It's a short experiment that anybody can do in their home and
Hmm.
actually see for themselves the result this water has.
Yeah, I actually have some plants in my living room that have not been getting as much attention because I have a new baby. And I was like, oh no, these are not looking good. And so I did some analemma water and watered the plants. And the next day I was like, oh my goodness, they look so much better. They looked vibrant and healthy again really, really quickly.
Really fast,
Really fast.
really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
We are
that's,
getting actually pictures from all over the planet exactly on plants, because there were some people kind of had their plants which, like, they switched position over the houses, they did
mhm.
all kinds of things with them, and they couldn't make them come back to life. Very short period of time, you just start watering them with analemma water, and you just see the magic. It really is
Wow.
beautiful. I don't know
Amazing.
if I mentioned this in the last time when we were there. It's amazing. During the glycanage study,
Mm,
we asked the participants of the study to kind of expose their analemma to the sun, because we know that water
mhm,
loves the sun. So we just told them, okay, put your analemma, expose it to the sun for a couple of minutes. And this lady put her stick. She had this kind of garden, very small
mm.
garden of very short plants, and she put her analemma on the same spot every single day. And after a month and a half, she sent me a photo. It's like you drew a circle,
Oh, wow.
and the plants grew inch and a half taller than anywhere else in the garden.
Wow. That's
So it was
amazing.
really something also to observe. We are now actually investing a lot in the agriculture studies, because we know that nutrition is extraordinarily important, and I know that you are very much
Mhm,
aware.
mhm.
Like spinach 15 years ago had
It's different.
80% more nutrients than today. So it's really appalling, and we're really investing a lot so that we hopefully can persuade agriculture industry to start using it, because then the quality of food for everyone would change.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned last time on the last podcast, this soil microbiome research
Yes.
that we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was amazing. So yeah, maybe I can just share a short
Sure.
version of it. So we
Yeah.
took completely depleted, destroyed soil, which is completely infertile. You know, you couldn't grow anything on it. So part of it we watered with regular water as a control, and part we watered with analemma water. And the part that we watered with regular water, basically nothing happened. It stayed dead. And the
Hmm.
part that we watered with analemma water, there was a huge explosion of the biodiversity of the microbiome, so much so that the bacteria started to suck CO2 out of the atmosphere and into the soil,
Mm.
which is amazing. The soil became fertile again. But there is also one beautiful, beautiful thing that happened. Usually, when rain falls on the soil, all of the minerals that are in the soil go deeper in the ground. But with analemma water, there is a huge retainment of those minerals in this upper layer. So when you plant a plant there, all of those minerals actually end up in the fruit, which is also amazing.
Very amazing. Very amazing.
Which brings us up to our next study. This was really kind of inspiration for us, since everything in nature is one. We
Hmm.
wanted to see what's going to be effect on human microbiome,
Yes. Yeah. I
which
know
is
we didn't talk about that one on the last podcast.
yeah, it's really amazing. Maybe people don't know, but we are kind of the people think that we're single species as human. No, we're actually entire ecosystem. We live in symbiosis with trillions of microorganisms. And the balance of those microorganisms within our body determine our health. So we're not talking about just, gut health. We're thinking digestive system, even though it's extraordinarily important. We're talking about immune health. We're talking about
Mm.
mental health. We're talking about almost every single area of health is directly correlated to the quality of microbiome. So what we did again double-blind placebo-controlled study, where we measured what is called dysbiosis index. Dysbiosis index measures the degree of deviation within the microbiome, taking into account all the different bacterial phyla and species and their weighing factor.
Mm.
So we did a baseline test where it took quote unquote photo of a microbiome. Then people drank the water for 3 months, and then we did another test. And on average, we had 17% improvement on the dysbiosis index over the placebo.
Wow.
So our whole microbiome gets improved just by drinking this water. And implications of that, I don't know, people are aware, but for instance, how the quality of a microbiome influences the quality of our immune health.
Hmm.
People don't know, but 70% of our immune cells are actually in the gut lining.
Yeah.
70%. And these microbes are, as we develop, they're teaching our immune cells, okay, what's good and what's bad. And they're helping to eliminate the bad guys which enter our system. And they're actually helping to prevent autoimmune response.
Mm.
So this whole ecosystem is extraordinarily important. The coherence within ourselves with all these organisms, when there is a balance, everything in our body works. When in the last decade, scientists have found a clear connection between the quality of the microbiome and the levels of inflammation. If your gut microbiome is more balanced, the levels of inflammation in your body are very low.
Mm.
And mood, now this is really something extraordinary. People don't know this, but microbiome, the bacteria in your microbiome, actually they produce and can produce neurotransmitters, and they
Wow.
are delivered directly through our brain through the gut brain axis. And then new neural pathways are being created in our brains, which influences our mood, cognitive performance. There are so many implications of having high quality gut health.
Yes. And it's so funny that you mentioned this study. I was looking back through, I have a private membership group, and a lot of my members, they have the analemma one. They love it, and they
Mm.
kind of will ask questions about it in there. And I just was before the interview kind of glancing through the group, and a group member said, let's see if I can pull the post. She basically said that her digestion changed within 24 hours. Let's see. She says, I'm trying to understand what happened. My digestion changed within 24 hours of using it. Is there something biologically different that happened on the inside of my body from using this tool? And at the time I just said, could be, I didn't know. But now that you'd mentioned this microbiome study, that makes perfect sense as to why she could have a positive change in digestion, would you think?
Most definitely. And not only that, you know what I love about human body?
Mm.
The ability of human body to repair itself is
Quickly,
extraordinary. It's
quickly.
so fast.
Yeah, that's what I love about talking about water within the body, because when we look at cells under a microscope, and even all these things, blood, we're extracting the water from these samples. And so I always tell people, don't be so attached to your blood work. Don't be so attached to the results of this test that has been done. Your body can become coherent and have these quick shifts very fast, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
we had people, they really reported so many things. So we're not
Mhm.
talking about just, so water is a quantum phenomenon, so to
Yes,
speak. It's,
exactly.
it's energetic. We
Small
are,
change and
everything happens very fast,
yes,
especially if the whole communication system is improved, then everything works
quickly on a
instantaneously.
resonance basis, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
We're energetic. Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. I've never shared this on a podcast before, I don't believe, on my podcast. But the month that I got pregnant with my son, I went to the doctor because I was thinking, if I can't do this on my own, I'll just do IVF again. And so I wanted to get some baseline tests for that month to see what my hormones look like. And she told me, your estrogen's too high, your hormones don't look optimal for pregnancy this month. So we'll probably see you next month, just to baseline for IVF. And I didn't resonate with that. I had been working so hard on myself and with the quantum mindset, and structuring the water within my body through nature, through sound, through these vibrations, and drinking structured water. I'd been doing all these things with sunlight, and I didn't resonate with what she said. And then lo and behold, I got pregnant that month. And so I always tell people that if they're struggling, again, like I kind of mentioned this before, if you're struggling with some sort of a health crisis or health issue, and your doctor is telling you these are what's on, you don't have to accept that. You don't have to take that into your vibration. It may not really be even true, because they're not looking at the water component. And when you change that water inside of your body, like you and I just said, you can have these quantum changes. You can have this gigantic change within a short amount of time.
Exactly. And biology follows the energetics, not the other
Yes.
way around.
Yes.
When energetics change, biology is going to follow. This is what I love about our research. I mentioned this. What is the most, something which is very tangible, we can actually measure it with our machines today. Brain waves are
Mhm.
actually electromagnetic waves.
Yes.
And we saw it every single time. As soon as you take a sip of this water, your brain waves change instantly. So
Yeah.
this is something which is instantaneous.
Hmm.
And then everything else follows. That's why we did ATP. That's why we did microbiome. That's why we did glycanage, which proves that biology follows.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I have one more question kind of about the wand, because I was kind of looking through my group.
Mm,
And then I want to talk about the new system that you guys have.
mm.
Uh, Sometimes when people start drinking analemma water, they will start peeing a lot more. And my theory is that it's kind of displacing that discoherent water within your body. Your body is trying to kind of get rid of that so you can have more coherent water within your body. But from a scientific point of view, is there any validity to my hunch? And have you seen that with people that start drinking
I
this
have
water?
to I have to tell you, which is really interesting because we received so many different stories.
Hmm.
Um, what I can only hypothesize,
Mm-hmm.
but what I can deduct out of all of the stories that we receive is that wherever you are, quote unquote, the weakest in
Mm.
your energetics, that's where immediately water starts working.
Ah,
So
okay.
with some people, it's going to be something else because we had, for instance, I have one lady. She had serious issues with her stomach for many, many, many years, and whatever
Mm.
she did, she couldn't help it. That problem was solved very fast.
Ah.
So wherever you kind of weak, so to speak, that kind of gets resolved fast. So if that would mean that your body needs to, like you mentioned, dispose of something, it will
Mm-hmm.
do that. If there is a
Exactly.
detox to be happen if it needs to happen, that will happen. So whatever need, there is an incredible, and I again I emphasize, his body is doing that,
Yes.
not the water.
Not the water. Yes. Yes.
Water is assisting that process in a powerful
Mm-hmm.
way, but body has this incredible intelligence. You just give it a little bit and it will use it to, like, for the best.
Yeah. And that issue with the peeing a lot in the beginning, it usually just lasts a couple of days or a few days, and then it goes away. Because that happened with my husband, and he was like, "I'm not drinking this water anymore because I'm having to pee more." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Just give it time, give it a little bit of time, and it'll go away." And it did. It did go away, and now he doesn't want to drink anything else. But
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I have to mention that we had people coming, two ladies coming to us, that we had this extraordinary dreams. It was like
mm,
something is remarkable, crazy, out of the ordinary happening, and in a week it went away.
wow.
But for a week it started happening. So every single person, because we are like fingerprint, every one of us is unique, it will affect you in a different way.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, and I think people like the taste of it too.
Yeah,
It
there are almost no people who, because we did so many blind tastings, and people like to do that,
yep.
to kind of, and like almost every single person can know exactly which one is which. It really changes. It changes electromagnetically, and people, especially people who are sensitive
Mm-hmm.
electromagnetically, they can
Yes.
taste it immediately. So it's not even kind of a subtle thing.
Yep. It
Yeah,
happens
you
very
can just,
quickly.
you can see it, you can taste it, you can sense the difference in it.
Yes. Well, the last time we chatted, you and Dolph were talking about a whole home system, and that's now available. I understand.
Yes, it's,
Yes.
and now it's out. Everybody can buy the whole house system. What's interesting is then you put it in the piping system of your house, and then all of your water is coherent. So it's not like just your drinking water, and you get all the benefits, so you don't have to swirl with regular analemma. But what's amazing with it is that we started a study. It's going to be a 100 people study. We already have very powerful early results. You
Mhm.
just lie in the water. Since water is broadband absorber, receiver, and transmitter frequency, and we are 99% water, we wanted to see what's going to happen if a person
Mhm.
just lays down in the bathtub filled with analemma water for 20 minutes, up to 60 minutes.
Mhm.
And the results, we really didn't expect those kind of results. We knew that skin is the largest organ of the body, and you can absorb within 1 hour up to a liter of water. But the results that we are having, it's electromagnetic. It's some pathways are actually being opened for
Mhm.
this result to happen. So every single person that took this bath, they had very notable changes, positive changes in cardiac output, in
Mm.
stroke volume, in blood viscosity. We are now doing 100 people study, and as soon as we have all 100, maybe I can then come and share those results, because this is one area of using analemma water which powerfully change, since we're electromagnetic, heart is electromagnetic pump,
Mm. Yes.
especially works in people who have issues with it. There is one lady who she really had issues with it, and it was borderline really kind of getting dramatic for her in her life.
Mm.
And the result after just one bath, the cardiac output doubled.
Wow.
And now after, she's been doing it for a while, it's not coming down.
Wow.
She now has a normal cardiac output, and she treated it with any way that Western medicine kind of could help her, and
Mm,
she couldn't get help. There is no way for her to receive any help, and this
mm.
solved it. And
Wow.
people who regular people who have normal kind of cardiac outputs, even their cardiac output gets increased.
Wow. It's amazing.
So this is a powerful we are investing a lot in that. We're going to now enter into new series of studies, not just agriculture. We're actually going to partner up with the most, since we already have this microbiome study. We're going to do a deep dive. We're going to do it's a method that was developed between Harvard, Stanford scientists and King's College in London scientists. They have really powerful deep dive into not just microbiome, but the way our bodies metabolize fats and metabolizes sugar. So
Mm.
we're going to take a deep dive into how drinking this water improves those processes as well. And there is also one very exciting study that I'm really looking forward to. So we're going to come up with those results, I'm hoping, within the next 6 months. You're probably aware now, everybody is talking about NAD levels
Yes.
and nicotinamide mononucleotide, or NMN. How NMN is actually, it's a precursor of NAD, and how it basically has a huge effect on the quality of life. So we're going to measure the NAD levels. How do they behave when people drink analemma water?
Ah, interesting. Yeah, that's
Because yeah,
people are getting IVs of this and
yes,
they're over supplement. And I don't know how I've never been one that really likes to add a lot of supplementation, or I've never really been one that's seen a lot of huge benefits long term from doing things like that, like NAD IVs or NAD supplements, anything like that. Some people swear that by them, but for myself, and then just kind of working with clients also, uh, the long-term benefits, I haven't seen them. What do you think?
well, it all actually depends. You know,
Mm.
high, because as you age, NAD levels go down, and
Yes.
NAD levels are important for our health. So that's why we're kind of exploring this avenue to see whether just another biological positive effect would be increase in NAD levels. So I agree with you. This is why I love this water. Is
Mm.
with one hand, it's like a natural thing. You have to drink water, and you have to drink proper amounts. With just
Mm.
one thing, you change one thing, and you've actually had a powerful influence on basically anything. Anyone who is in health and wellness at least had a phase of kind of supplementing with various things. I love
Yes.
that this water kind of covers a lot of ground. So you just
Mm.
can focus on water and nutrition, and also on meditation, on kind of
Hmm.
being kind, being
The
connected,
energetics. Yeah.
energetics. That's the
Yep.
thing. Then you are focused on the core,
Hmm.
and all of the rest just helps this process in a powerful way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, going back to the whole home system, because I had a couple questions in my private group from people who
Mhm.
are interested in it. Can you just talk about some of the main benefits of the whole home system that people, we talk about the bathtub, kind of
Bathtub
study
is
that you're
like,
doing.
yeah, like this is a biggie, really. I
Mm,
would definitely suggest people, if they can actually just spend half an hour a week in this water, you are going to see a
mm,
big difference. Just that. But the main thing, if we put that aside, you don't have to swirl anymore. Any faucet you open, you are going to get coherent water. So you can
mm.
just drink it directly and get the benefits. So you're actually getting all the benefits. From any faucet you open, you get coherent water coming out of it.
What about people who live in cities that have kind of like dangerous, like maybe chemicals in their water? What does it do for
Well,
that?
nothing really. We are going to, so from it doesn't, analemma doesn't change the water chemically.
Mm,
It just changed the structure of the water. We are
got
going
it.
to be coming with our flagship model down the line because we really want to be meticulous at it, so that we're going to have a complete system which is
Mm,
going to purify the water and make it coherent. So it's going to be the
mm,
number one water treatment system on the planet. But we can only put out as much in any given point in time. So we wanted to come up with whole house system before, and then when we create this water filtration system, we're going to come up with that as well. But we definitely, I can suggest to people, um, if at all possible, filter your water somehow and then make it coherent.
I like it. But they'll stick at the benefits of the bathtub. They may be able to put like a little filter on top of there. That's what I do in my bathtub is I put like a little bathtub ball on top of the faucet as the water's coming out to kind of filter it from those chemicals. So those are pretty inexpensive to get as well.
Yeah. This will definitely do the trick. Maybe it's not going to be 100%, but most of it is actually going to be taken out. And you get the benefit, I'm telling you, half an hour a week. Of course, you can do more, but
Hmm.
that is going to do the wonders. And definitely going to be sharing all of the new, because we're doing many things now just by laying in this water. What are the results? So we're going to do
Mm,
many things.
wonderful. And if they add something like Epsom salt or magnesium flakes to the bath, does it do anything to the water
No,
to,
it will
okay.
just add to it because it's a chemical
Hmm.
element to it. The number one thing where the true power water is being unleashed in is in its structure, and that
Wonderful.
remains intact and very stable. So if you add salts to it or add magnesium to it, it's just going to add a chemical positive component to the whole thing.
Perfect. And same thing goes with the analemma water that you stir,
Yeah,
right? You can add
definitely.
electrolytes or um,
Anything
powders
you
or
can you can use it to make your wine coherent or your beer
oh,
coherent. Yeah, if you want to do
if
that
you
as
want
well.
to.
Yeah, if the liquid has H2O molecules, they will form this very special liquid crystalline structure.
Got it. And then another question I got was can you freeze the water? Will it maintain the structure? So if they wanted to have like ice cubes in their water, could they like structure the water first and then put it
Yes,
in an ice cube tray and then it'll
definitely. And we tested all of the freezing, unfreezing, and everything just to see how the structure behaves.
mm,
Everything stays intact.
wonderful. Wonderful. Well, what's the most exciting thing that you guys have going on over at Analimo right now that you're excited about?
What I'm really excited now is, well, there are several things, but we already kind of did a lot in this whole health department, and we are going
Hmm.
to continue to develop that so that it becomes irrefutable for everybody, because we really want to put this in every hand possible so people can get the benefit. The
Mm,
next frontier, so to speak, is the whole agriculture world,
mm,
because the state of agriculture is really appalling, and we want to make it big in terms that large agriculture companies start to use it, because
mm.
then everybody, when you which is, to be honest, it's, isn't it an oxymoron that you come to a supermarket and you have healthy food department?
Yes.
All food have to be healthy. There
Yes.
shouldn't be any unhealthy food. It's kind
Mm,
of weird. So our whole kind of thing is uh, uh, to prove to the agriculture, and they actually respond only to two things: shelf life and yield.
mm,
And we want to prove that if you use this, you're not just going to exponentially increase the quality of the fruit, which is the most important thing for every consumer, but also you are going to increase yield and shelf life, because we are talking about, we already proved it, that fruits and veggies have much higher vitality than fruits and veggies watered with regular water. So they will retain their freshness for much longer,
mm,
which for supermarkets and the whole agriculture industry is really important. Our whole thing is to put the highest quality food on the table for people. And we
mm,
know that we have to play the game of how they're thinking, and we have to prove it that this will increase that part as well for them, because then they're going to invest in it. They're not just invest, they're going to use it to create the food, and then everybody will get the benefits. So I'm very much excited about that whole arena. And the next one is definitely, I mentioned this when I was there last time. The whole mission statement of our company is to make all bodies of water on this planet coherent again.
Mm.
And we already developed this beautiful technology, which is 100% eco-friendly, that we can install in the wells of the biggest rivers. And then all the water will become coherent again. And then that water is going to enter into oceans, and then oceans will come coherent. And then we will again be so connected that the whole planet will come into this coherent state. We know that Mother Earth is the hidden voice of this project, and we feel that we are serving it, not the other way around. We're serving this water because it's a blessing. And when you realize this, when you're faced with the blessing that it is, you cannot but kind of do whatever you can to put it out there. And this is exactly what we're trying to do in every way possible. And that's why we're investing so much in these studies, so that anybody will know, if you use this water, you are going to get the benefit.
Wonderful. Well, this has all been very, very interesting and exciting. And I'm going to try to link some of these things in the show notes for people if they want to research these things further, as well as links to the system and the wand. But where else could people find you if they wanted to learn more? Or
well, I always invite people, just come to coherent-water.com. We have a newsletter there. You can jump on, and we're whatever we're doing new, we're sharing through the newsletter, so people can be informed about all the avenues that we are going with. And of course, if anybody has a question, you can just send an email to us. We'll be happy to answer all of your questions.
Wonderful. Well, I'll make sure to link that in the show notes as well. But thank you so much for being here today, Mario.
Thank you, Sarah, so much. And thank you for doing exactly what you're doing. This is exactly what we need now in this point in time, so that every one of us has their own kind of influence. Let's say you're a lighthouse where you are, and you are spreading the light, and it's very visible. I always kind of say this, how the nature is teaching us. Water is in chaos at the moment. And when you swirl the analemma through, what happens is, the colloquially speaking, those H2O molecules, they join hands. And when they join hands, their true power is being unleashed. This is what we need now.
Yes.
All of us to join hands energetically. And then we are creating the most powerful power grid that the planet ever had.
Yes.
Energetically. And you are doing your part there. So thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.